And of course, businesses are shopping as well. And I chose this slide from Dell, figuring, so many build their computer systems from Dell. But I also like the idea that it's home and business, so that I can go in either spot to shop for for materials, in this particular case, computers. So what we see here, this goes back again to the gal, to the little girl who's in front of her computer, and to the fellow and the Eskimo with the GPS, is that our behavior has changed, and we're not totally aware of how the behavior changes. So seamlessly does it behave, does it change, and so that's what we're hoping to make clear today, is that if we're not aware of how dramatically the behavior has changed, we want to leave you with the facts of how it has.
We asked specifically, do you go online to search for outside professionals to provide legal, accounting, or consulting work for your company? 3/4 do. That's up from 2/3 back in 2000, and I suspect that's going to hit 100% sometime soon.
Oh, and I just grabbed another slide. I typed in Medicare fraud defense just to see what I would get, and I got a page full of attorneys that you would expect to get as well. And I thought, click again, that here's on the side you've got Medicare fraud on this Google AdWords, and it says this is actually, because we do exemplary work for whistleblowers, this is actually an exemplary job of buying keywords in terms of getting noticed on that right-hand column and then moving over to the left. We'll talk a little bit more about Google AdWords and organic search as we get further into this presentation.
We asked how often the buyers go online to search for a professional to provide services, and 75% of decision makers told us they search for professionals only monthly or less often.
I know that you hear from the professionals in your own firms how often they pitch for, and I'm talking completely new business here, not business for existing clients, but completely new business. It's somewhere less than once a month or around a month. Of course, the rainmakers might be out there much more frequently, but the average professional that in our experience is out there more or less once a month, which more or less matches what these folks say that they're doing. In other words, I'm looking for somebody, I need a new service, I'm not going to go, I've got my network already in place, but every now and then, in order to fill the gap, and we'll talk about that gap, I'm going to have to go online to search.
But how do they find the outside professional services they need? They phone a friend. 85% of the time, they're still asking for referrals, but with more than 1 million lawyers, how do they find exactly what they need? That's still the challenge. So we asked what has changed most about the way you find and choose professionals in the past 5 years, and the answer in a word is the internet. You'll see at the top of the graph more information is available on the internet, followed by increased use of and dependence on the internet, more online resources, using the internet as a screener. And if you skip down to the last bar, you see 16% say it hasn't changed, but I suspect those are folks who are either early adopters of internet use or they're the ones who are headed toward retirement. So how do they find you? We asked how important are these internet sources for learning about professionals, and we found 85% consider websites important, with the younger decision makers being especially likely to find all the digital sources important, which isn't surprising, but that includes online directories, newsletters and alerts, professional services portals, early listings in Google search, and even blogs. We asked how important are search engines for learning about professionals, and we found about a half who said they are. When you search for a professional, how often do you include keywords from the following categories? There's specific expertise, industry, general practice area, city, state, and region. And if you look at the bar colors on these graphs, to the far right, the light green is that they always search by that method. The darker green is often. Gold is sometimes, red is rarely, and white is never. So half of the decision makers always search for specific expertise in industry. And industry searching was only 69% said they did that in 2000. We're now up to 96%.
took another snapshot of using keyword significant litigation wins pharmaceutical defense. We know that if you type more or less 3 words, you're going to get a very narrow window of responses. If you type more than that, you're actually going to get fewer and fewer. But I thought it was interesting that Diane Sullivan at Deckert has her defense wins listed. She's in the National Law Journal's top defense wins of 2005. So you've really got folks that, if they are deciding to type that in other words, I need somebody to help me with a pharmaceutical issue. I've got my normal stable or panel of lawyers that I'm comfortable with and use. Who else out there is someone I should look at? This kind of activity is happening. People are typing that in, and so I'm very likely to put Diane on a short list to find out more about her.
Do they understand how Google search engine works? We asked. When you've done Google searches, have you been aware of 3 different types of listings that come up? And we found that 3/4 are aware of the various types of listings. And if you look at the bar graphs, you see 80% say they typically look at the organic results below the color block, but still a third review the sponsored links at the top first.
So once again, I've grabbed another screenshot, and this time I typed in employment discrimination. That's an interesting response. So on the left-hand side, these are the natural organic search results, and forgive me, if this is all obvious to you, it's amazing to me for how many people this isn't obvious. But you'll get your rankings, of course, occur top rankings in organic search for lots of reasons. Relevance is one. Those people that have linked to you is another, and so you've got. Not unsurprisingly, at the top, the EEOC, which is the top-ranked website on employment discrimination issues. But you've got others that are sponsoring links on the right-hand side that are trying to get a piece of the business when people are looking for employment discrimination where they feel that they've been victimized in some way. And if you bid aggressively enough for your keywords and have enough relevant content, you can also find yourself up in the left-hand column right above the organic search results where you can actually take the #1 ranking. And emotionally, it makes a big difference to be on that left-hand side. People do find themselves clicking on those search results, and I'll bet you do too.
So what else can drive them to your website? We asked, have you ever visited the website of a professional as a result of seeing a firm's name in a news article? And 2/3 had their curiosity piqued by a news article. That goes back to the pie we showed you, where 3/4 of the buyers are getting most or all of their news on the web. But also, we've got about 50%, more than 50%, saying they went to a website when they saw research sponsored by the firm, received an e-newsletter or alert from the firm, got information about unfamiliar services or practice areas, received a promotional mailing from the firm, and that is up from 16% in 2000. Now 51% say that's driven them to a website. And those who saw a name appear in a search engine result, and those who saw a print ad about the firm. The one that's not terribly effective at driving folks to your website is online advertising.
If you put this on a marketing slider, and that slider went from informational to promotional, you'd still find that even at the promotional level, you've got substantial traffic that's being driven to your site as a result of the work that you do on your firm's behalf. For example, saw a print ad about the firm. Down at the bottom, almost half of the people are going to have their curiosity piqued, as we say above, and then visit that site. So the idea that the web is a silver bullet and does everything is not quite right. The idea that print is dead is not quite right. Actually, it's a mix of online and offline activities that are required, and we're seeing that promotional mailings, this is 51%, people are, in fact, I don't know about your inbox, but I get very little mail anymore. Most of it's via email. Probably get 2 or 3 pieces of mail instead of the big wad of mail that I used to get every day. Now that wad of mail goes to my home. So we've got however, these tactics, the point is, these tactics are still working. It's not about abandoning tried and true. It's about expanding your marketing